Yeah, do I really have to line up every animal on planet on the beach and start drawing lines in the sand and moving the lines in the sand to actually demonstrate what I explained? I think so clearly that you have drawn a line in the sand and you have placed other sentient beings on the other side of that line. And the cult of Judah has simply come along, yeah, and moved that line in the sand slightly to one side. Yeah, they claim that you are dumb beasts, that you belong on the other side of that line in the sand, that you, dear friend, who I'm trying to help and save from yourself and your own bad choices, that's the line in the sand that you drew. But you have no power to control what people with more power than you have to control. Whoever gets to draw the line in the sand gets to define who has the exceptional, exclusive entitlement and who becomes the victim. In other words, who becomes the slave and who becomes the beneficiary of the system of slavery. It's power. Might is right. And of course the people with power are going to claim, yeah, I'm acting with God's authority. I have the transferred authority of a God. I have the transferred authority of a book. Yeah, a book. It's written in a book. No, look, it's the book. I can get you the book. I can. Really, I can get you the book. And once you see in the book, you can't argue anymore because it's in a book, right? You know? And then I'll say, well, the book was written actually 2,000 years ago. I say, was it? You go, well, it was based on an oral tradition that's 2,000 years old. So same thing. Really? You can prove an oral tradition is 2,000 years old? Maybe that oral tradition was made up around the same time that they wrote the book, just to give that book transferred authority of an ancient tradition of 2,000 years. Stop and start. Yes, I'm deliberately provoking you. Yeah? Marcus being abrasive? Oh my God, Marcus abrasive? Yeah, you'll meet people who'll have nothing but nice things to say about me, about how diplomatic I am. I'm a Libran after all. Yeah, I can be as diplomatic as anybody. And sure, I can get the job at the job interview. Yeah, and I can go along and get along if I wanted to. I got the jobs. I played along. Made me sick. I got blacklisted. Yeah, for life. Did I ever try to pander to you in my books? On my videos? No. The result? Been banned from everything. How many subscribers do I really have? Hardly any. How many people actually watch my videos? Almost none. How many people read my books? Even fewer. I don't know. Does that mean I should give up? Let's stop and start. Because I don't give up because this is a process. It's a process for me to learn. My books are reference materials. My videos are reference materials for myself. I learn by writing and making videos. And even having totally pointless, counterproductive discussions with people that give me migraines. I avoid those, yeah. But lucky people don't approach me and people avoid me, so I don't have to worry about being engaged in verbal discussions with people. Most of my verbal discussions are imaginary, yeah, and they give me migraines and nightmares. I run through scripts in my head in the same way that Plato wrote his Socratic dialogues. Plato wrote Socratic dialogues which never happened in reality. In reality, what happened to Socrates was real. They murdered him. They killed him, like Pythagoras and all the others. Orpheus, yeah, as well. You don't have to worry about people running after you to engage in, potential interlocutors demanding you engage with them in a Socratic dialogue, because Socratic dialogues only happen in Plato's imagination, in Plato's Socratic dialogues. In reality, people just shut down. They don't want to hear. They just attack, yeah, and they don't want to hear. And they tell people, they say to Socrates, don't tell me what to eat. Don't tell me anything. Anyway, stop and start. It's my eyes because I have to face the window where the sun is shining, and my eyes take a long time to adapt. I sort of wake up every morning from being dead, I guess, from the happy state of non-existence, and to be, brought kicking and screaming back into the world. And I think my body actually starts to go into rigor mortis as I sleep, So I'm basically coming back to life every day. Every morning is like a rebirth for me. It's like John Nash coming out of a deliberately induced coma. They because there was a lot of uproar against electroshock therapy. To get John Nash to stop expressing himself, expressing his what they call hallucinations, they put him into, what's the thing when you have diabetes? Insulin. Yeah, they like straight chemicals. They like straitjackets and violence that's not obvious to the public. Yeah, the electric shock therapy, when you film it, doesn't look very nice. Yeah, it looks pretty violent. And putting people deliberately into insulin comas looks very peaceful. But ask John Nash what it's like to come out of an insulin coma. The torture of the insulin coma is coming out of it. And that's what breaks the will and spirit of the patients. Yeah, you can torture them with electroshock therapy, or threaten them with all sorts of other sorts of nasty, horrific treatments, or simply isolation, or you can punish them with insulin comas. Yeah, remember, coming out of the insulin coma, coming to, like waking up from it, is the torture. And John Nash decided to stop expressing his hallucinations, stop talking about them, simply to avoid the pain, the torture of waking up from an insulin coma. Yeah, you can read about it in the book. You won't see that in the movie, folks. The book, Beautiful Mind, has almost nothing to do with the movie, A Beautiful Mind, as usual. I'll stop and start. I was just watching a video from Tom Cowan again, and because I watched them several times and then take notes, it seems clear now that heart attacks are caused by, or produced by, the build-up of acidity in the heart tissue, which kills the heart tissue. There's two different types of combustion in the body. Ideally, the body, when it needs to burn fuel, will have enough oxygen to burn the fuel. But if you've had an old carburetor aspirated, conventionally aspirated carburetor car with a carburetor that feeds air into the cylinder head, when the mixture of petrol to air is too much, not enough air, the car will start spluttering and backfiring and stuff like that. And you'll get a lot of build-up of carbon inside the chamber, which you have to clean out. And I know this stuff because my best friend was always working on his motorbike. So basically, the body adapts to a lack of oxygen. Ideally, the body has enough oxygen to burn the fuel, but it has a backup system called anaerobic fermentation. So instead of burning the fuel with an adequate amount of oxygen, it burns the fuel without oxygen, and this produces lactic acid. Now, most of us have had a muscle cramp, usually in the calf muscle, and this is from this process. There was not enough oxygen, but your body was told you need to contract this muscle, you need to burn this fuel. There wasn't enough oxygen, so the body went into the backup mode of anaerobic fermentation. It burnt the fuel without oxygen, and the result of that is the formation of lactic acid. Now, your calf muscle can afford to cramp. That's what a cramp is. When the lactic acid builds up too much, the muscle cramps and stops working. and you have to massage it and relax the muscle. You're forced to relax the muscle. Like a migraine is the same sort of process for the mind. Migraine forces me to stop thinking, stop internally verbalizing, to stop worrying, or to stop scripting dialogues, etc. Yeah. So a cramp in your leg is the buildup of lactic acid, and it gets so high that your body decides to hit the pause, hit the stop, hit the pause, and force you to stop activating that muscle, so that so it can carry the lactic acid away. So you get the cramp, and the cramp may last a few minutes, which is fine in most cases, unless you're running away from a tiger or a predator. Oh, actually, a bad example, because most likely a predator is another human. Unless you're running away from a rapist or a murderer or some other bully, some other human predator, you can usually afford to stop using your calf muscle. So a cramp in your calf muscle usually won't kill you. I'll stop and start. Yeah, so first your body was burning fuel with oxygen. That's how it likes to do things. Then when there wasn't enough oxygen, it went into a backup mode. It found that you needed to use your calf muscle, but there wasn't any oxygen. So it used the backup process of anaerobic fermentation to burn the fuel, to fuel the muscle. And then this produced lactic acid, and the lactic acid built up to a point where your body said, oh, we've got to stop now. We can't continue this anaerobic fermentation process. We have to hit the stop button, hit the pause button. We cramp the muscle so you can't use it, and you're forced to stop using the muscle. Give us time to clear away the lactic acid and to find new sources of oxygen. So your calf muscle has no problem doing that. Yeah, usually it's not deadly. Usually it's not lethal. Usually it won't kill you. Unless you're being chased by a murderer and the calf muscle prevents you from running, it's not going to be lethal. And this happens all the way around the body. The blood is the same everywhere in the body. Every organ in the body needs oxygen. Every organ in the body will go into anaerobic fermentation as a backup process when there's not enough oxygen. If you're an elite athlete, or just an extreme athlete, or just actually a lot of people who have extreme jobs, if you put your body under a lot of physical pressure, you will end up burning up all the oxygen, and there not being enough oxygen, your body will go into anaerobic fermentation, and it will burn fuel without oxygen. And then the next day, after the workout, after the really hard day of work, all your muscles are sore, or your joints are sore. That's because of the buildup of lactic acid as a result of the anaerobic fermentation process, which your body used in the absence of enough oxygen. So we're all familiar with that. Only difference with the heart is, or the brain is, the brain and the heart can't afford to hit pause for a few minutes. If you pause your brain or your heart function for a few minutes and have a brain cramp or a muscle or a heart muscle cramp, you die. Or at the very least you have a heart attack. Yeah? And if the cramp continues, you have a stroke, if it's in your brain, a blood vessel in your brain, or you have a heart attack if the muscle involved is the heart. This is all lactic acid build up. And lactic acid is like battery acid poured on your tissue. So lactic acid in your heart first produces burning sensation, yeah, angina, pain, heartburn, heart attack. Yeah, and if it continues, it kills off the cells and they can't perform their function and you have a heart attack. And the dead tissue, the necrotic tissue destroyed by the lactic acid, yeah, builds up on the other side of the heart. That's why when you do autopsies of people who died of heart attacks, the blockages in the blood vessels are post-heart. Yeah, the blood vessel blockages appear after the heart, not before the heart. They were not the cause of the heart attack, they are the effect of the heart attack. The heart attack is caused by the lactic acid. Anyway, stop and start. But the point of that, you can read my notes. In my Vegan Republic notes, I've added the transcript from that video. And the point why I started making this video originally is to remind people that you can't just do a cursory. Most people are happy with a very superficial overview. They watch a few videos and they get the gist of it. And the gist of it is you can't trust anything doctors say. The gist of it is blah, blah, blah. But you can't afford to stay there. You really have to invest the time and energy to really understand what it is you're talking about. Because the devil is always in the details. I spend a huge amount of time researching and then writing and rewriting to clarify things in my books and then in my videos and the transcripts. And I'm doing that now. I just did that now for you and myself as a reference about the real cause of heart attacks. And it all comes down to acidity. And how am I supposed to tell Tom Cowan, when he's so clever, that it's an animal-based diet that's acidic? Yeah? If I say lactic acid, what's the first thing most people who have studied nutrition at all will think? What's the first association? I say lactic, you say cow, milk, lactose. We've all have lactose intolerance. Yeah? Lactate, milk. Women lactate. Yes? If anybody can arrange a discussion with me and Tom Cowan, please do. So now that I worked out how to use the phone by plugging it into the laptop as I use it, because to override the dead battery, I have to remember that the memory also fills up. So this is where I'll stop and start, because I lose a lot of material if I keep talking and then I fill the memory and it doesn't save. Yeah, so what prompted me to make this video was the simple fact that people have to invest more time and energy into this enterprise. If they really believe they're going to enlighten themselves and then enlighten others, they really need to invest more time and energy in the enterprise. Just because you're satisfied that something is true doesn't mean your conviction is going to carry across to other people. You have to know why you believe it. You have to really, really, really understand what it is you're talking about. Because you're doing the most impossible thing in the world, convincing people that they've been tricked. Yeah, you're challenging the official narrative. This is the hardest task facing any human being. It's the least likely thing you're going to succeed at ever. Yeah, is challenging the official narrative, other people's embedded beliefs after a lifelong of conditioning. You really need a solid. You need to drill yourself like a Tibetan monk. The Tibetan monks are drilled with questions and answers. I'll put the phone down. There's like a anyone who knows Tibetan monks will know what I've just was doing then. It's a hand clap. It's the question. Go on. Answer. Yeah? They're drilled. They ask a question and then the monk goes, now, yeah, but blah, 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 blah. Yeah? And they're imitating, they were training people for a Socratic dialogue, yeah? A Buddhist dialogue. They train their acolytes, their students, to respond immediately to any challenge made by a layperson about their beliefs. So they'll train them to respond to something the layperson might say, yeah, but blah, blah, blah. And then the Buddhist monk has been drilled so hard, they, like that, instantaneously have exactly the perfect answer for it. Yeah, they're given that clap signal and they're supposed to already have the answer ready prepared. You might call it brainwashing, call it what you like. But they're drilled hard, yeah? They take it seriously. You approach a well-drilled Tibetan Buddhist student, a Tibetan monk, with any sort of comeback, and they've already got the answer. Yeah, they've been drilled like a soldier for combat. instinctive response. They have the answer 100% complete, ready. That's what I'm doing with my books. I'm drilling myself, but I really doubt any of you are going to drill yourself that you're taking this seriously. You have to be totally up to date, and we are all learning things every second of every minute of every hour of every day. We are learning new things, and it takes so much time and energy and effort. And all you want is a really happy, easy to watch, easy to digest video of somebody telling you what you already believe, so you can say, yeah, see, I agree with him. It's very agreeable, yeah, to watch someone. The people still on YouTube really make me sick, because they're all controlled opposition, and they're all talking as if they're, you know, oh yeah, we've got 5 million army of awakened, enlightened beings. Oh my God, you make me sick. Who is that guy, Russell Brand? Oh my God. I tried to watch a few of his videos, but it's all show and no content. And he's masturbatorially agreeable. Yeah, telling all his 5-6 million subscribers, yeah, you're the awake generation. Yeah, you haven't been fooled. You're waking up. Yeah, you know, we're gonna change the world together. What a fucking joke. He's like 50 years behind in everything, and barely gets towards the tip of the spear. So obviously cutting it, controlled opposition from the beginning, you know. Yeah, but so my point is, if you're going to be serious about this, you have to drill yourself. You have to learn and learn and learn and learn and learn, as if you're studying for a PhD, as if you're preparing for a job interview for a promotion, as if the result is you're going to get paid or laid or not as a consequence. This is what I've been doing for decades. I've been treating this seriously. Yeah, I've been working as hard on this as I would have if I was working on my own business corporation, yeah, or working on my own career, or working at getting paid and laid. I've been taking it that seriously, and there's very few people who have done that. And the material's all in the books and the videos, but it will take you time even just to digest them, and then take time to think about it if you're going to take it seriously. Which, sad to say, I don't think many people are really taking it seriously. They really think it makes a difference what you personally believe, that your sheer conviction is somehow going to impress other people. Yeah, and how many of you really are like the Buddhist Tibetan monks, drilled? How many of you really can respond to somebody? How many of you really could explain to somebody the virus playbook and prove to them in an interaction, a verbal interaction? Tom Cowan is actually really well drilled at what he does. Yeah, he's very impressive. It's too bad he misses the point when it comes to the most important point of the world as the representation of his own will. Yeah, it's too sad that he comes to the final, he thinks he's at the top of the mountain, but he's really on one of the lower ridges of the mountain. Yeah, and he can't see the top of the mountain. He thinks he's on it. But he's an example of someone who's well drilled in what he does. And he can explain things to any interviewer really quickly and simply. And that's how he's made it possible for me to understand a lot of medical things I never would have had access to. I'm going to stop and start. The RAM of a human brain is so small. I've probably forgotten the most important thing I wanted to say. You know, just having the way all my technology is set up, so basic and so old and so unreliable. But by the time I get things to work, I've forgotten what it was I wanted to say anyway. But yeah, not telling you what to eat, not telling you what to do. But don't complain if I describe the consequences of your own choices. If you go about drawing lines in the sand, don't complain when somebody with more power than you comes and redraws that line and puts you on the disadvantaged side of that line. That takes you from being beneficiary and moves you now to being victim of the same line in the sand that you drew. Don't throw a hissy fit, don't throw a childish tantrum. Take responsibility. if you can't take responsibility, you don't belong anywhere near people like me. I and people like me are taking personal responsibility, and the ultimate personal responsibility is to erase the lines in the sand and say, the lines in the sand are arbitrary. No sentient being has the right to enslave another sentient being. You know, who's that? Tucker Carlson is really addicted. You know, he's really jerking off to the idea of dominion. Tucker Carlson, yeah, him and all his followers love masturbating over the idea that some god gave them dominion over all the other animals. And when you challenge his exceptional, exclusive sense of entitlement to that dominion, he explodes like a child throwing a tantrum. You go up to a little child and tell it, you can't do that, it's wrong, and it chucks a tantrum. Yeah, Tucker Carlson and almost everybody else, like the people responding to my video, they throw the same childish tantrum. How dare you tell me that God didn't give me dominion over other animals? How dare you? Yep. And that's it, folks. And yes, I know personally how hard it is at first to have to admit I'm wrong. I'm the one responsible for my own suffering and for the state of the world. Of course I had to go through that process. I wasn't born enlightened. I wasn't born that special. I was born into suffering, and I was born without any sense of sense of entitlement, other than the general I hate making videos. Other than the general entitlement that all humans, almost all humans seem to feel, the exclusive exceptional entitlement to treat other sentient beings as mere means to our own ends. We are all born, it seems, feeling entitled to enslave other sentient beings that we call animals. Cows and chickens and ducks and horses and all, you know, all the farm animals. And this is the most ingrained sense of entitlement that everybody has. It's an entitlement that everyone takes for granted as natural, and it's never flagged as an entitlement. It's an assumption that people make that's so embedded in society and in our human nature that we don't stop for a second to question it and the consequences of that sense of entitlement. And that's what I'm doing now. That's pretty much the focus. Of course, I'm trying to educate myself about everything that's going on in the world because I'm a natural philosopher, and I write reference books and make videos and reference notes for myself because I want to understand, and I want to save myself from becoming a slave. But I've come to the most impossible tip of the spear. Shakespeare. I'm Nike Athena, Nike Pallas, shaking the spear of truth shaking the spear of truth in the face of people, of the hardest truth of all. The truth of personal responsibility. The truth that you do not have any exceptional, exclusive entitlement to anything. That's the myth. That's the ideology of Semitism. You can pretend you have an exceptional, exclusive entitlement, but as Obadiah warned, for as you do unto others, so shall be done unto you. That arbitrary line in the sand, defined by your sense of exclusive, exceptional entitlement, it's not carved in stone. You do not have an exceptional, exclusive entitlement to anything. Anything you claim an exceptional, exclusive entitlement to will be shared by every other sentient being around you. Yeah? The world is the representation of your will, of your choices. It's very agreeable to be told you have an exceptional, exclusive entitlement. That's what the cult of Judah elites have been told. That's what the cult of Judah elites tell their cult thralls. That's what every one who wants to gain control of other people tells other people, to be agreeable to them. You tell the average person they have you tell men they have an exclusive, exceptional entitlement to enslave women. You tell women they have an exclusive, exceptional entitlement to bully around children. You tell all people they have all white people, for example, or whatever people are in your cult, color they are, you tell the people in your cult that anybody in your cult has an exceptional, exclusive entitlement to enslave people not in the cult. And it makes it easier if the people in the cult have a different skin color. So you tell all white people they have an exceptional, exclusive entitlement to enslave black people. Or you tell black people who are over 6 feet tall and who have small noses that they have an exclusive, exceptional entitlement to enslave all other black people who are under 6 feet tall and who have large noses. I'll stop and start. This is why it's worth me making the videos. How do I know what I've got to say until I've heard what I've said? It's happening now, yeah? Insight's flowing. It's like a writer sits down and starts writing anything. And then the ideas come. So this is the problem now that and I keep thinking I'm getting closer and closer to identifying and defining the problem very clearly. And I do. And it just takes forever, so much work. And now I'm honing in on it. Yeah, I'm really zeroing in on it. Ground zero. Think of all the exceptional, exclusive entitlements people are told they have. First it was patriarchal. Men have exclusive, exceptional entitlements that women did not have. That adults have exclusive, exceptional entitlements that children do not have. That all humans have exceptional, exclusive entitlements that other animals don't have. That all white people have exceptional, exclusive entitlements that black people don't have. That all Europeans or Chinese or Japanese have exceptional, exclusive entitlements that all other people do not have. This is the heart of the problem. And everybody is pretty much told that they have an exceptional, exclusive entitlement over other animals, other sentient beings. They have the entitlement to enslave them, to make them their pets, to castrate them, to artificially inseminate and breed them, to enslave them, to take their periods, to take their mucus, to take their vomit, and to make honey from it, to make milk from it, to make scrambled eggs from it, yeah, to make dairy products from it, to make meat from it. This is the problem. And you don't want to hear it because it's very agreeable to be told you have an exceptional, exclusive entitlement. But guess what, folks? The cult of Judah elites, just like all the other elites in history at the top of the pyramid, you know, the pyramid scheme of whatever culture they were born into, the cult of Judah elites have been told that they have an exceptional, exclusive entitlement over you and your family and your nation. Yeah? It's that simple. That's the ideology of Semitism. That's the only way in which I'm anti-Semitic. I'm against the ideology of Semitism. The ideology of Semitism in all its manifestations. The ideology that any individual group has an exclusive, exceptional entitlement that other groups do not share. An exceptional, exclusive entitlement to enslave other sentient beings and then to use them as mere means to their own ends. That person who said, don't tell me what to eat, I'm not telling you what not to eat, I'm telling you the consequences. If you are happy to be a slave to the cult of Judah, then continue as you've been going. Yeah? Once you imprint lines in the sand are principles. It's the operation of a principle. The principle of drawing arbitrary lines in the sand. Now masturbate all you want and tell yourself all you want that it's not arbitrary. That you just happen to be right. Good. Great. Fine. The cult of Judah elites are going to listen to you when you tell them, oh, you're wrong, folks. I'm sorry, mate. I'm sorry, cult of Judah elites, but you got it wrong. Yeah, the line in the sand that you drew, I'm on the wrong side of it. I'm supposed to be on the side of it with you. And they'll say, yeah, fuck off. Yeah, they'll say, don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me who to eat. If the Cult of Duty elites decide to eat your children, and you have this really big long argument prepared, great. Make your video, and then some Cult of Duty elite will reply, hey man, don't tell me what to eat. Yeah? They want to eat your grandchildren, they'll eat them. They'll find they'll find a legal loophole. They'll find a weaselly way to move that line in the sand that you drew just a little bit in either direction, so that now your grandchildren happen to be on the other side of the line in the sand. So they are quite within their exceptional exclusive entitlement to eat your grandchildren, or do whatever else they want with your grandchildren. Yeah, if it's okay to do medical experiments on other sentient beings' children, then they're going to find a way to make it okay to do medical experiments on your children, or on you. Yeah? I challenge anybody to enter an elenchus, a Socratic dialogue with me on these topics. And I'll stop and start, because now I'll get to the other point. Yeah, the other point. Once you get to the point where you can, like Tom Cowan or David Icke or me now, when you're drilled like a Buddhist Tibetan monk in the things that you understand and believe, so that you can actually from the top of your head really explain a lot in a very short period of time, like Tom Cowan does in his videos. Now remember, Tom Cowan and David Icke, they only go so far. They do not go as far as I do. That means they're more successful than me. That means they're famous and well known, and they're rewarded. Yeah? But they can't help you. They can help me get further, and then they can help me help you. Now I feel confident that I could talk to anybody about almost any subject I've written about and not waste anybody's time. I'm very conscientious. In the first book I sold, first I was overjoyed, and then I felt guilty, wondering, shit, did they really get $2 value for that? You know, I felt guilty that they paid for my book, and I wondered, shit, you know, was my book good enough to justify the $2 I spent on the book? I'm being serious. These were my reactions. You know, also, even the reaction was, idiot, you know, fool, you spent $2 on my crappy book. Because I have low self-esteem. Of course. Can't help but have low self-esteem, given how I grew up, how I was treated. So there were the three responses. First one was, wow, overjoyed, I've actually sold a book. 2, guilt. You know, did I rip them off? Did they really lose? Was my book worth $2? And 3, you know, the old cynical working class cynical. At university, everybody who was studying environmental science felt obliged to joke about it, saying, oh yeah, I'm not doing it to help the environment, I'm doing it to make money, you know, I'll be corrupt. So I hope that makes sense to people. But those are the 3 reactions when I sold my first book. And I was selling some books before I got banned. Yeah? My books were starting to sell. And I was getting thousands of views on YouTube videos, suddenly. Before I was banned and blocked for life. So I had that experience. And it was pretty obvious why I was banned. I mean, I pretended to ask them questions to get them to admit why they did it, but it was obvious what was unacceptable to them and what was acceptable. And I could have pandered to the acceptable and become more agreeable and continued selling books. But what was the point of that? I didn't start writing the books because I wanted to make money. If I wanted to make money, I would have kept my mouth shut in my first jobs and progressed through a career in the Federal Australian Public Service, the Australian Bureau of Statistics, and other federal agencies. Yeah? When I put my mind to being charming, people believed me, in me. Yeah, I was very promising. People often commented, what happened to that very attractive, to quote my friend, really, really good looking young man that turned up that day in that suit? What happened to him? That was me. I was going for a job interview at a real estate agent. But normally I wore shorts and t-shirts. I mean t-shirts, not even collared shirts. So anyway, I'm going to stop and start. Yeah, these videos aren't scripted, and I always find the idea, the planning is everything, but the plan is nothing. I'm quoting Napoleon, as far as I understand. Napoleon said, oh no, that's, who did they name what's he plan after in Europe? The general, the something plan. Anyway, yeah, but he wrote, the planning is everything, the plan is nothing. And Napoleon is quoted as saying, not a single one of my battle plans ever survives first contact with the enemy. Now, my teaching method, which really got people pissed off with me, they could not possibly understand how I did things, but my teaching method was always to do as much research as possible and then to be spontaneous in my actual presentation. That's when I got the best results. I'll stop and start. So I've done decades of preparation for this, and even just watching a video and writing notes for a few hours preparation also for this. But everything works better if it's Zen fashion, and you enter it with a beginner's mind and allow free flow, and not to have a set agenda or script, but to be spontaneous. And that's how I get the best results. The memory got filled again, so who knows what brilliant insights I lost then. Yeah, I'm being a bit self-deprecating. Yes, Mrs. Adams, I am being facetious. But yeah, but like Alice in Wonderland says, how do I know what I've got to say until I've heard what I've said? And I don't know if I lost the quotes of Napoleon and Marshall. Marshall said, the planning is everything, the plan is nothing. And Napoleon is quoted as saying, not one of my battle plans ever survived the first encounter with the enemy. And most of my teaching attempts at whatever level, as either at school or anywhere in the video, I always get the best results if I plan thoroughly and do all the research, but then leave the actual speech to spontaneity, to be more spontaneous, to approach it with a Zen beginner's mind, with an open mind, to allow the not conscious parts of my mind to be activated and to interact. So basically I don't know what I've got to say until I've heard what I've said, because I'm allowing the most powerful parts of my mind to generate the ideas. Anybody working from a script, unless the script was written by really brilliant script writers who followed the same process in writing the script, and they've handed it to their puppet to read the script because the puppet is more agreeable to the audience, that makes sense, yeah. But otherwise I find that doing things off the top of my head spontaneously is better. And you can only do that after years of drilling, so that you do have people like Dr. Tom Cowan and David Icke who can speak for hours coherently, yeah. But I don't know if my video cut off which one it was, but people like Dr. Tom Cowan and David Icke and anybody on YouTube is not going to be able to take you the full distance that I can take you. But here's the point why, one reason I made this video is the only reason I came across Tom Cowan was in an interview with somebody else. And most of the books I've been referred to, most of the people I've been referred to, most of the ideas I've been referred to have come out of watching a video where somebody was interviewing somebody else. and then they mention the book, or they mention the other author, or they mention the idea, and then I did some more research in depth on the idea. But I came across the idea, and like I said, I don't expect most of you won't do the research, which is why I write my books, and you won't read them. It's why it's so heartbreaking for me that people won't read. Yeah, or they will start reading and say, "Oh, this isn't perfectly presented in the manner I'm used to." You know, it can't be any good because it doesn't have a big publisher behind it, and he didn't win the Nobel Prize, and he's not the Times bestseller. And look at the cover. I mean, he made the cover himself, and look at all the spelling errors. Oh, geez, and look, this part is just rough notes. You know, if you want something well presented, then go back to your controlled opposition, because they have all the resources to appeal to you. But if you want to actually progress in your self-development, in your journey, then my books are the best available on the market. And if I had a little bit of support, I could present them at least as well as any other books being presented on the market. But what I'm asking you to do again is, as usual, I mean, I can't even get people to watch my videos and read my books themselves. But if you're one of the few people who has actually read anything or watched my videos, please try to devote some time to going onto other people's videos and leaving links there and comments, redirecting the people from those pages on YouTube and BitChute to my pages and my books. Use that link which lets them download the entire folder. And I will keep updating these transcripts and these notes in my Vegan Republic Constitution notes. Yeah. So any transcript that's not in any of my other publications will be in that one. This phone is getting so hot I can almost not hold it anymore. Okay, so but apart from getting people's attention to my materials, if any of you can somehow leave comments on other people's videos asking them to interview me, yeah, suggesting they interview me, because unless I get on a channel such as Tom Cowan or David Icke or Max Igan, all these people appear to have watched my videos, and it could just be an impression I got, but I hear people saying things which are uncannily like my videos. People using expressions which are quite singular for Marcus. So yeah, I got the impression that a lot of these people do watch some of my videos or have read some of my books, but they don't get the point. And I'm not an agreeable person for YouTube or any of these other. I'm a persona non grata. I'm vegan, so people hate me because I'm too close to the truth for people to handle. You know, people don't want personal responsibility. They want to blame someone else. I'm blaming myself, and I'm telling you that we've got to blame ourselves to get out of this. Personal responsibility is the only way out. Blaming somebody else and assuming exclusive exceptional entitlements is what got us into this mess in the first place. And the only way out of this mess is by refusing the very ideology of Semitism itself. The power of the cult of Judah is based in the ideology of Semitism, which is firmly rooted in the human nature. Until we escape from the ideology of Semitism, the ideology of exceptional exclusive entitlements, which is basically the ideology of might is right, the ideology that if you have the power to draw an arbitrary line in the sand, then you are free to do so. And you are free to say that any sentient being, including other humans, on one side of that line in the sand, have exceptional exclusive entitlements to enslave the sentient beings, including humans, on the other side of that line in the sand. Anytime you support that ideology at all, at any level, in any form, you are guaranteeing your own slavery. Because I promise you that it's 99.999999% guaranteed that there's at least a 1% of the population that has more power than you, smarter than you, it's cleverer than you, and it is just as capable as you of justifying any treatment of you in the same way that you justify your treatment of other sentient beings. If you can come up with an argument to justify your own treatment of other sentient beings as means to your own ends, it's guaranteed the 1%ers have an even better argument to justify treating you in the same manner. That should be your takeaway. Yeah, so now I'm saying I'm ready. I'm the well-drilled Tibetan Buddhist monk, yeah. I've completed my enterprise. I will continue learning, of course, and updating my skill sets and updating my definitions and data sets and expanding them and integrating them and making them more coherent, etc., and writing. But the only way I'm going to have any impact and be of any real benefit to you, apart from in your own personal quest, remember, if you focus on your personal ascension, that's fine. Your personal escape, that's fine. You have no obligation to anyone but yourself to save yourself. And if I help save myself and I help you save you, then I've succeeded. That's more than anybody can expect on this planet. But if, like me, you're much more ambitious and you want to reform others and reform the planet, or at least find an island of sanity on the planet where we can live and continue with our enterprise, then you have no choice but to wake up other people, to inform other people, to make other people aware, to reform other people. You can't live, no man is an island, etc. You can't survive free on this planet unless you free everybody else. You have to free them of their delusions, of their illusions, of their self-deceptions and the deceptions, other people's lies. And the best way I can help you do that, and you can help me do that, is by somehow getting other people to interview me on their channels. I have no reach. I have very little agreeableness. I promise to behave. Yeah, I'll be as charming and as clever as possible, using all the neuro-linguistic training I have. And I will do my best not to offend people, etc., unless I find it appropriate for the channel. I can be a chameleon. I can adapt to any channel. I can behave. I can be as agreeable. I can mirror and lead. I can pace and lead. I can win friends and influence people. I can make people feel that they've made the best possible impression on me that they could have hoped to have made, like the Great Gatsby. I can do all that shit. I can play the games, any games, but never sell out. But I can only do that if I have an audience, and you're my only audience. So all I'm asking you to do is try to drop lines on any channel of anyone you think might interview me. Doesn't matter how big or small they are. I will find a way to get internet access and to improve my technological reach to make it possible for them to interview me and to participate. But I need those people inviting me onto their shows, onto their programs, onto their channels to interview me. This is how Tom Cowan got his message out. And that's why David Icke is so famous, because he's been interviewed by so many other people. Yeah, I'm asking you to see if you can find a way to help me achieve that. Okay, ciao for now.